Ahmed.
So last week I promised that I was going to do another video about drawing poses out of your imagination. Well, I wanted to post that like the very next day, but that just didn't happen. I was like, I'm going to wake up really early and, make the video and upload it. But of course, I woke up late and, didn't do it because I had to go to work, and then I was going to do it the next day. After work, but that didn't happen either. So yeah, here we go. Let's, I don't really have a plan for this. I'm just kind of drawing a figure, but maybe we can make something out of this. Yeah, alright, so something's happening. Now I know in the last lesson, I was talking about how we have, the boxes and stuff that represent different parts of the body, and here's the torso or ribs, and then pelvis, and then the head, and it's a pretty important exercise to kind of trace over photos like in that video, so that you kind of get an idea of how it actually works. So what I did here, I guess I don't really have a very specific explanation, but I'll try to come up with something. I started with the leg, although a lot of seasoned artists will say started off with the torso, and that works too. But basically you start off with some kind of landmark, right? Because although I just drew a shape like that, I still felt the form of it, right? And another trick is that when I'm drawing, I'm imagining that there's sort of a grid, like for example, I'm kind of jumping all over the place here. If you have like a three-dimensional space, and here's some perspective lines to show it. It makes it a lot easier to kind of figure out some kind of posing, right? So you can say, well, there's a guy here and he has a sword. Apparently all my figures have swords. Alright, fine, we'll make it something else. How about a I don't know, a chicken. Gobble gobble. Chickens don't gobble, they cuckoo. Turkeys gobble gobble. Alright, here's our chicken. Alright, and he's holding it. And he's like, his other arm is like cast out this way, right? He's like, haha, check out my chicken. So there's the top part. Now, we might get stuck as to how to position the bottom part, but if we have a grid, we can sort of say, well, if it goes along here, the pelvis is probably going to do something like that, and the feet have to go somewhere, and they kind of go into perspective onto that thing. Maybe he's stepping forward with this foot, and the other one's going back behind. Let's move on a bit. But I couldn't have come up with that as easily if I didn't imagine the three-dimensional space. So if we lower that and sketch on top of it, there's the there's the head, the rest of the body. Always pull up reference when you don't know what you're doing. Alright, happy chicken. Right, and so as I established that figure there, then you can draw a line down and kind of figure out where the center line is in the three-dimensional form, because it kind of curves around like that, and you say, oh yeah, the belly button's there, cool, yeah. Then the pectorals are there, and then the collarbone, etc. And so often I get asked about anatomy, and how important it is to learn anatomy, and how do you learn it? Well, the way I learned isn't necessarily, I pull up an anatomical diagram of all the muscles. I eventually did that, but first is the fun way, and that's I just drew Spider-Man all the time. And I think I probably mentioned Spider-Man in a lot of my videos already, but that's because I would constantly draw the same pose of Spider-Man. Like, I had his arm, his shoulder there, the bicep there, and then the forearm like this, and then there was something like that, and then his head was sticking out, and then like the web was coming through and whatever, and then the legs were all really cool like that, or sometimes they came out forward. Like, alright, so yeah, I drew that over and over again, like not the same exact pose, but a variation of all these different poses that he would do, drawn by like J. Scott Campbell, all the other pros, and other superheroes too, like Superman. I mean, Jim Lee, great stuff. So I didn't necessarily go and learn all the names of the muscles right away. Instead, I learned kind of the shapes and the value, not the value, kind of like the form. That's what the word I was looking up. That was the word I was looking for. And so, like, the shapes that you embed in your mind is, you know, the overlapping stuff that happens like this, and that comes from copying comic books. You know, and the reason I like this way better is because it's not boring. You know, you actually get a cool drawing out of it. I don't remember how to draw Spider-Man exactly, but that's where it all started for me. Let's get back to Chicken Guy. So yeah, that's kind of how I was able to lay in those boxes and go over it with these shapes. Like this is the shape that I was talking about earlier, you know. So one on top of the other. So what do we have here on the left? Yeah, so I guess I think whenever I draw a girl, I don't always do this, but I do start out with the leg very often, because it has that very feminine curve, right? And you can take that shape. Let's just take that, duplicate it, and then rotate it this way, and it sort of kind of flows perfectly to the next shape, because then that's the top part, you know, and all that fun stuff. Then you could put the other leg like this, but you know, that's when it comes down to understanding gesture. But yeah, so you get the feel of the motion, like she's, you know, breaking out of a window or floating or something. Let me move that aside and draw a little gesture arrow. One tip that I might say is when you're drawing legs from the side, like the temptation is like to say, oh yeah, well yeah, it's a leg, so you know the lower leg is, you know, directly down. Then you put the foot there, you know, and you got the toes. But might I recommend that? I'm so silly. Wait, let's just follow through with this for the heck of it. Okay, this is why no one should ever hire me, because I do not take this very seriously. All right, I think I was going to impart some important knowledge on you, but I got derailed. Oh, good, it's on its own layer. All right, we'll just move that aside. Okay, so yeah, like I said, so the temptation is to go straight down, but if you look at the anatomy of the leg muscles, they actually kind of do something like this. I mean, this is an exaggeration, but here's the butt, and then the quadriceps, the upper leg, and then the lower leg kind of comes down like this, and you have that diamond thing that I talked about earlier in my last video. And then you have this kind of thing going on, right? And it doesn't feel perfect, but it's more of a stylized thing, I guess. But keep that in mind, that you can offset the kind of bounding box of each part of the leg. Because let's see how that looks without doing that. Yeah, you know, it works. I just it's not as exaggerated as the one on the left. So for here, if we were to kind of put the bounding box like that and follow that for the stylization and say, okay, well, there's the kneecap, and then we have the calf muscle, it's like that, and then from there, you know, the bone comes out, and then got the ankles, and then the foot, and then you have the soleus muscle, and then the connecting thing for the knee. And yeah, I think that's... Come on, really? Why are you doing that? Yeah. Okay. That's kind of how I would go about drawing the lower leg. And in the same way, when you're writing actual words, you have sort of shortcuts and abbreviations. Same thing with drawing. You can have shortcuts. So like instead of drawing the whole lower leg, I like to just draw a line and imply that calf muscle, and then draw the foot, and then the upper leg muscles. You know. Then I can come back later and fill it in with all the actual details. But starting off simple always results in better results. Okay. Where are we going with this? Let's go ahead and merge this down and turn these off. Wait, we gotta put hobbit feet here. Like, yeah. Big nails. Sasquatch. You know, I was actually on the phone with my mom today. We were talking about some, you know, family stuff. And then she goes, and she's like, you know, Ahmed, on your Instagram, it seems like all you draw is pretty Asian girls. Like, and then she goes, and you always make them look angry. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Let's go there real quick. I mean, yeah, it's got some Asian. They're not all Asian. But, alright, back to this. Alright, so, okay. The reason I'm drawing that while not speaking and just speeding it up is because I can't really get in the zone and draw as well when I'm recording or when I'm talking. Alright, so yeah, same thing. You know, that's what I have in mind. And, you know, there's that box offset that we talked about earlier. And here's that Spider-Man thing, right? I constantly do it everywhere. And it all stems from, like, me having drawn that exact pose over and over again. So one thing is like, okay, you see this hand that I drew, you know, I'm not sitting here and inventing it. Like, I've drawn this shape before, and I know that something comes out like this, and then you have that, and then the silhouette changes because the other fingers come through. But that's all from having studied it from existing artwork. You know, I'm not some kind of magical artist just making this up. I'm referencing something that I've studied before. So that's kind of what I'd recommend to people asking about how to learn anatomy. I'm going to be honest with you, there's no real purpose for these arrows. I just put them there to make it look cool because they seem to fit. But it implies that there's some kind of educational value of putting them there. No, not at all. I'm going to turn that foot off. Okay. Let's do some more. I didn't realize until now that I did this video that I always start out with the legs. That's why my life drawings from life drawing class are not always the best, because I know I should start with the torso. So yeah, everything's a building block. As long as you start with a landmark and you build from it, you know, I wouldn't recommend, you know, starting with, I don't know, the foot, right? And then doing the lower leg, and then you're doing that, and you're like, okay, well, you know, I did the lower leg, let me start with the head now, and then let me start with the shoulder randomly. Oh, what about the I don't know, the hip? and then it's just like, wait, that doesn't work, especially because the arm's going to now be like that, and then it just, you wouldn't do that. You know, you start at one place and you build up. Although this is actually not that bad, but oh boy, ay. All right, that's good enough for what I want to kind of talk about. If this starts to become repetitive, then good, in your face. Repetition is what makes it, you know, embedded in your brain. So, you know, we got the boxy box and the other boxy box. And there's not much 3D stuff happening here, but you know, that's the basics of it. What I did want to talk about is the hand. So of course, like I said earlier, there's a shorthand of doing things. So if you draw a line and you have this kind of shape, that's kind of the forearm in this position. Every position has its own shorthand, and it, you know, it has something like that. And then you just build one shape on top of the other. But when it comes to actually putting the hand, like what I did is I first put a box, right? And then I divided that box up into fingers, right? And then, but the thing is, in order for this to work, you have to understand what the parts are. So you have fingers, but you also have knuckles. And you have the palm, and this is the back side of the palm, and the palm isn't this big, I mean this deep, it actually does something like that. And then I guess this pinky would come in like this, and then the thumb would stick out like that. The only reason I know this is because I've drawn that 100 times, you know. My first like 1,000 drawings of hands were really bad, but I mean, if you do 1,000 hands, you'll get really good at drawing hands. So if you have a part that you think you're not good at, just force yourself to go through the repetition. So this guy is like an anatomy master. Just friggin' look at this stuff. You know, he blocks everything out. It's very sculptural. You can really see. Oh, look at this. Look here. Those are the boxes that I was talking about. You know, he does it. And, you know, that's where I learned it from. But Bridgman is an excellent resource. There's a very specific one that I'm looking for. This, I think this is somebody else's drawing of it, but it shows exactly what I'm kind of doing in my drawings. Yeah, this is his original. So he really separates the top and the bottom as two separate entities. You know, three-dimensional rectangular objects, and then bends them. So let's look at this and lower the opacity. Oh, that's way off. Wait. You know, that's kind of the sort of the direction of that top part. Yeah, something like that. And then the lower part kind of twists this way. You know, but you know, Bridgman's thing, you know, you have the top one like this, and you had the bottom one facing all the way down, and then the head was like that. And, you know, it creates this amazing balance. Then you had the character like that or something. But this is just really cool. So study from Bridgman as well. Alright, so that about wraps it up. I definitely want to do more of that. Do some more poses and more explanations, because I don't think there's really a structured way that I have planned out for this, but I think as I go doing this kind of organically, it allows for me to just kind of stop and explain things. And hopefully that helped, and if it did, go ahead and subscribe, and even better, share this video with people so that more people get to see the knowledge and the stuff. And I mean, that chicken, look at that chicken. Yeah. Alright, well I gotta go to bed. It's like almost midnight. Gotta wake up at like 7. Alright, wish me luck. See you guys.